Hey guys, what's up? This is Mel, and I'm here to talk about The Flash. 2 episodes this time. Episode 321, titled Cause and Effect, which premiered Tuesday, May 9th, 2017, as well as episode 322, titled Infantino Street, which premiered Tuesday, May 16th, 2017. And I am recording on May 16th. It's just a few hours after the episode has aired. Actually, it's shortly after the West Coast has seen episode 322. So with this said, guys, huge spoiler alert for the 2 episodes. If you haven't seen them already, please go do so first. Otherwise, my other video reminders are up on screen. Very huge spoiler alert for this. Some answers are brought up, some theories, some, well, you know the deal. So anyways, let's start the 20-minute clock with this, and let's start with episode 321. And that is what happened in this episode. So with this episode, it immediately picks up where 320 left off, and that is with Savitar just revealing himself to Barry, and they're still face-to-face with each other. Episode reminder for 321 was the fact that we see Barry without his memories. And the villain being Savitar, and Heatwave's replacement, as they said, Heatmonger. He's only a minor criminal villain that we saw. But Savitar is the main villain of the episode. Now, the breakdown for the episode, for storyline, it's 3 different parts. It's just going to be a little sidebar history of Savitar I'm going to point out. But essentially, it was 2 storylines, and that was 1, stopping Savitar, and 2, Tracy's Speed Force bazooka, trying to get that to work. So, storyline for Savitar, or the story behind Savitar, I should say. Apparently, when Future Barry created Time Remnants to stop Savitar, Savitar killed all but 1 Time Remnant, so that Remnant could later become Savitar. Because when that 1 Remnant survived, he ended up being outcast as he wasn't the original Barry Allen. So when Savitar was imprisoned in the Speed Force, this left this outcast of a Time Remnant to take up his spot as Savitar, and then travel back in time to create the Savitar myth and to create the Savitar that we've come to know now. I'm still confused about that though, but that's pretty much the gist of it. But moving on to the storyline of the episode, so stopping Savitar, one idea that they had was the fact that since Savitar is a future version of Barry, that means he has all of Barry's memories. So if they could just stop their present Barry from keeping his memories, then that would mean Savitar has no memory of what's happening with them currently that he could use to his advantage. Unfortunately, that leads to Barry forgetting everything about himself. So we temporarily get to see a different version of Barry, one who's not weighed down by the guilt, by the sadness, any bad thing that's ever happened to him. It's not weighing down on him, so we get to see a very lighter, very happier version of Barry. But we also get to see Savitar with those memories. And because of this, that means that Wally has no speed, because Savitar is the one who orchestrated Wally getting his powers. So there's that. The second storyline, though, deals with Tracy trying to create her Speed Force bazooka gun to use to trap Savitar into the Speed Force. While doing so, we get a kiss between Tracy and HR. They're definitely having a growing affections between each other. It's being reciprocated by the both of them, so there's that. Apparently, in the end, though, her bazooka gun needs more energy than the sun can generate to get it to work, which is a downer there, though. But the last moments of the episode shows that a possible energy source for the bazooka gun is actually seen in King Shark's lair, from the looks of it. Now, based off the tidbits that we find out in the episode, we found out that Nora Allen's maiden name was either Thomas or Thompson. I have to double check that one though, but it's mentioned briefly when they're trying to quiz Barry to see if he got his memories back. It also looks like Cisco and Julian came up with glasses that could transmit messages to Barry, kind of like a teleprompter through the glasses, through the lens of his glasses. So that was a pretty cool invention to see. We also get confirmation by Joe that Barry is 28 years old as of this episode. We also get Julian confessing to Caitlin that he loves her, but Killer Frost denies loving him or anyone on the team. A.k.a. Killer Frost kind of went to Team Flash to help them get Barry's memories back, so that by doing so, it would get Savitar's memories back. So that's why she wanted to help. So anyways, Savitar's armor and suit, we find out, can actually move without Savitar actually inside it. So that was kind of creepy, yet kind of cool at the same time. It's kind of like the suit has a mind of its own, but it doesn't, if that makes sense. So anyways, let's move on to episode 322. Timeline-wise, though, is that it actually, I don't know if some time has passed, though, but it's 24 hours before A.R.G.U.S is set to die by Savitar's hands. So the episode really shows what happens in those 24 hours. The episode reminder, well, the fact that A.R.G.U.S only has 24 hours left to live. And the villain is Savitar. I mean, there's no question about that. But the episode breakdown shows 3 different storylines that I picked up. First one being stealing an alien power source. Second one was Wally and Joe taking Iris to Earth 2 for her protection. And then both of them lead to storyline number 3, which was Barry versus Savitar. Now, first storyline, it ends out that A.R.G.U.S has a piece of the Dominator technology that is the alien power source that they need to generate the bazooka gun. And this is being guarded by King Shark. Because of this, and with all the power suppressors around A.R.G.U.S, Barry can't use his speed. So he recruits Captain Cold, a mastermind thief, to help him out in stealing the Dominator power source. And Barry travels back in time to 1892 Siberia when Captain Cold was finishing up a mission with the Legends team. Now we have to remember that Captain Cold died on the Legends in episode 115. So it has to be one of their season 1 missions that led them to Siberia of 1892. Now even though Barry's messing with the timeline, he insists that after he gets Captain Cold to do his mission with him, he's going to return him back to where he found him, so that he can continue forward with what he was meant to do, and not disrupt the timeline. Although that's a little confusing how it won't disrupt it, but anyways. Turns out that after all that, with Captain Cold's 4 rules to pulling off a robbery or a thievery, I guess you could say, is make the plan, execute the plan, expect the plan to go wrong, and throw away the plan, which are pretty much very sound rules to go by. But after all that, and he gets caught, Barry gets caught by Lila, she ends up giving him the power source because of the fact that she saw through the security footage that Barry was willing to save Captain Cold from King Shark instead of getting out of there with the power source and leaving Captain Cold for A.R.G.U.S agents to find. Plus, she kind of felt guilty over the fact that if there was a way for her to stop Iris from dying and she didn't do anything, then that's just going to haunt her. So there's that. Moving on to the second storyline, though, was that Barry wanted Iris to be protected, so he entrusted that task to Wally and Joe by telling them to take Iris somewhere, but not to tell Barry, because if Barry knew, Savitar is going to know. So they end up taking her to Earth 2. So we get to see Dr. Harry Wells again. He's working on some type of weapon as well. But unfortunately, Savitar does find out where Iris is by pretending to be Barry in the Flash suit and hiding his face. And unfortunately gets the location of Iris out of them and takes her from Earth 2. So there's that. Which leads to the showdown between Barry and Savitar in story number 3. And this is the future moment that they've been trying to prevent all along. So Barry actually uses the Speed Force bazooka against Savitar, but it fails, and that's all because Savitar has the Philosopher's Stone. So there's that, and then and after all that, though, Savitar does end up killing Iris. And that is the last moments of the episode. In a very slow-mo version of Barry trying to get to Iris in time, but failing to, we get the audio over that moment being Iris's video message she had left to Barry. And it was actually her reciting her wedding vows to Barry. The whole A.R.G.U.S take Bartholomew Henry Allen to be my lawfully wedded husband, that whole spiel, and something she felt that he needed to hear. And then in the back row we get Barry holding a dead Iris in his arms. So there is that. Tidbit wise though, in this episode, Cisco's first scene, which happens at 12:03 a.m., exactly 24 hours before Iris' death, it shows him getting a text from Felicity about not being able to find anything. So it looks like they have reached out to Team Arrow to see if they could find a way to help them save Iris. Unfortunately, doesn't look like that's the case. They weren't able to help out. Also, we find out that, or we also see Barry revealing himself as the Flash to Tracy. He's trusting her because of the fact that they're trusting her to create this weapon to save Iris. So they figured, why not? She's not surprised, but she's kind of a little disappointed that she didn't figure it out that it was Barry. So anyways, we get also Joe singing a little bit with Iris, as well as a few little throwbacks to their past, a few stories, a little minor confessions here and there, like the song that Joe used to sing with Iris, the fact that Iris confessed to switching rooms with Barry so that she could sneak out past curfew, or the fact that all the money Joe was saving up at one point, he ended up using it to go to a blues cruise to go see someone famous that he liked. So it was a fun little moment there with little tidbits we got to learn about that. Also, we do get Cisco going to fight Killer Frost. Don't know how that fight ended up, but he ends up doing that instead of helping Barry and the team go after Savitar. And also, Iris's video message is what I mentioned, and she filmed that right when the episode started, when she asked Barry to get her some caviar for a very early breakfast. So there is that. I don't believe... Yeah, and also HR asked Tracy to officially join the Flash team. Don't know if that's actually official or not, but he actually made the whole gesture of getting down on one knee and asking her like that. So that was cute. So there's that. Now, most shocking moment of the episode. I will have to say, for 321, it has to be the fact that Savitar is a time revenant. I was not expecting that. I was thinking, I thought that it's still, that Savitar was the Barry that we know now, who's felt the pain and loss, and it was eventually, over time, it grew to what Savitar was. The fact that he was actually a time revenant did not occur to me, and it kind of leaves me even more confused. So there's that. For 322, though, I was very surprised at the fact that Iris was actually killed in this episode. I was expecting it to happen in the finale. Everything was being geared up for the finale. They even had the date as the finale date. So I was very thrown that they were actually going to show it in this episode. Or if anything, they would have had a cliffhanger of that very moment and then just pick up in the finale with it. So that was surprising. But moving on to the top 3 favorite moments. For 321, first one has to be the fact that we get Killer Frost working with Cisco and Julian, and then just trying to get Cisco to bring up some memories of her, him, and Ronnie back in the day, and then her actually taking part in it at the very end. I really liked that. It was great to see Cisco trying as best as he could to bring out the Caitlyn within Killer Frost, even though she tried to deny it. It was a great moment to see, even though it was a little jarring to see the Killer Frost look in Star Labs in that capacity like that. It was weird mixing the two, but I hope that we get to see it happen more, because I really want Killer Frost to be Caitlyn Frost, and then to go back to Caitlyn Snow. I really miss that. I definitely miss the friendship between Caitlyn and Cisco too. Now, the second favorite moment I had, though, was the fact that we got to see Barry without his memories. It was definitely funny to see, but it definitely shows a huge difference in what Barry could have been like. Iris made a good point in the fact that she likes seeing this version of Barry, like seeing that he doesn't carry the weight of the world on his shoulder. He can approach life with a lighter step. But then Joe makes it a point that the Barry you see without his memories is not the Barry that they know. He's a completely different person. And while, yes, he's happy, he's not the Barry that they've grown to know and love for the last 28 years. So there's that. It also reminded me of when they always do the flashbacks back on the Arrow, when you kind of see the Oliver in the flashbacks versus the Oliver in the present day, and the difference there was, especially when you see Oliver before the Gambit went down and then after it. It's a huge difference. So to see Barry without his memories, it was fun while it lasted, like Iris thought, but it's not our Barry. But it's just great to see this version of him that could have been. So there's that. So for the next episode, for 322, my favorite part was Barry working with Captain Cold. It was just great to see the dynamic between the two. It was great to get into Captain Cold's mindset a little bit more, and having him make some very excellent points, and proving why he's such a mastermind at being a thief. So it was just great to see that, for sure. And then just to have their talks, Captain Cold giving Barry advice, saying use the goodness you have against Savitar, as that's your greatest strength. Don't turn to the evil within. And then making comments about how Barry sees the good in Captain Cold, but Captain Cold sees the bad in Barry type thing. So they kind of balance each other out in a sense. But it's just very interesting to see the two of them working together in this sense. And I really like that, for sure. Another favorite of mine has to be the little moment between Joe and Iris back on Earth 2, when they're sharing old memories, going trip down memory lane, and then having Joe singing for a brief moment as he danced with Iris. It was a really good moment. If you took it out of context of how severe the situation is, I mean, his daughter's in the last 24 hours of her life, if they happen to fail. But it was a very good father-daughter moment for them to have. And I really like that they got to have it, despite the fact that it kind of solidified the fact that she doesn't believe she's going to make it to the next day type thing. Another favorite moment of mine is actually between Savitar and Killer Frost. I mean, for the brief moment, we get the reminder of from Killer Frost herself saying it's us. We can be, like she was saying, like we could be Barry and Caitlin again. And it was just very interesting to get the reminder, and then for Savitar to counter that, but you're not Caitlin, and I'm not Barry. It's like they're two very different people, yet at the same time they're not different anymore. They still have that past connection with each other, and just having that whole conversation happen about her wondering if he can actually kill Iris when he has the memories of what it was like to be with her type thing. So it's very interesting, but I really liked seeing that side of things, I guess you could say. Now, moving on though to top 3 P moments, surprisingly, I don't have any P's for either of the 2 episodes. When looking back at my notes, I was actually surprised that nothing came up for it. So the only peeve I guess I could say was the confusion on like Barry still being Savitar. I'm still so confused by that. I'm thinking like the chicken and the egg type moment, but I will bring that up in the random questions though. But moving on though to what moment will I remember most when I look back on these 2 episodes. For 321, it has to be Barry without his memories. It was definitely an interesting sight to see. And for 322, it has to be the fact that we actually did see Savitar killing Iris in this episode. So it's a little downer. You got a happy moment and a sad moment for that though. But moving on, random questions. Let's get right to it. So I had a few for both episodes. So let's start with 321. Now, my question is, if Wally lost his speed when Savitar lost his memories, then why did Killer Frost still have her powers? Or were Killer Frost's powers not connected to Savitar, and she was just having a late development in regards to her metahuman capabilities? And then they just seemed to progress faster because of the whole Flashpoint thing happened. So that's one question. Second question. Shortly after Killer Frost left, after Julian's confession that he loved her, Caitlin appeared within her eyes. Does that mean there is still hope to bring Caitlin back and have her be the dominant force within her body, and just have Killer Frost and the back part of brain or gone for good? I will be willing to go with Caitlin Frost if Julian can't cure her. If not, at least to cure her would be. I just want Caitlin back for sure. Now moving on, 322. First question: is Iris really dead? I have no clue, but I kind of hope that Barry doesn't go back in time and try to fix that moment, because then it shows that he never learned anything. Then he didn't learn anything if he does that. So there's that. Another question: why wasn't a version of Wells on the rooftop like Barry's second trip to the future when he was with Cisco and they were trying to take notice of all the different aspects they needed to watch out for? Because I specifically remember that there was a Wells on the roof, and I really think that it was Harry Wells, not HR, that was on the roof. Because I still don't know if HR can actually, if he has any accuracy in projectiles. So there's that. Also, another question. Why did the team not think that Savitar would have a way to defeat their Speed Force bazooka idea when it has already been used against him before in the future and also with the fact that Savitar has Barry's memories of them using and creating the bazooka gun. So I'm just wondering, why didn't they take account of that? Why did they prepare for that? And it's a lot trickier, though, too, since whatever Barry knows, which he needs to know in order to execute the plan, Savitar's going to know, so he's going to be able to figure out a way to counteract that plan. So there is that. Now, my big, huge remaining question is the fact of, how is Savitar a time remnant of Barry? Yes, the whole logistics behind it, though, I get. But what I don't get is the fact that who was the original Savitar? Found the question, though. Original one is, if Savitar is really a time remnant that future Barry had created to stop Savitar, then who was the original Savitar that needed to be stopped, which needed to have those time remnants to begin with? Who actually killed Iris that first time, which led to the dark version of Barry that ended up becoming Savitar? Like, I don't get who was the original Savitar, because I can't see it being Barry. I can't. Well, actually, no. Yeah, yes, I actually can see it being Barry. But my question is, what or who killed Iris that first time? Because then the death of Iris would make sense, because then Barry would go in this depression, he would isolate himself, the darkness would grow within him, and he would become Savitar. He would be Savitar number 2. Then he'd go back, and to ensure that his creation still happened, he would go back and he would repeatedly kill Iris to ensure that his own creation. But one of those Barrys is going to think of, oh, time remnants is going to help me out. And then that Barry ended up able to entomb Savitar number 2. But because Savitar number 2 never killed all the time remnants, he left one standing. So even though he was in prison, Savitar number 2, that left time remnant to become Savitar number 3. And then repeat the whole process that Savitar number 2 had set into motion. I get all that. I just don't get who is Savitar number 1 in this sense. Who is the one that originally killed Iris and kickstarted this whole thing that led to Barry going dark side, to led to Barry going back to ensure killing Iris would ensure his creation as Savitar becoming full circle? That is the huge question that I have. So please, if anyone has an answer to that or has some type of explanation that could help figure out how to make sense of all this, please let me know in the comments down below. I really, really, really need an answer to this. I might even post this separate part in a separate video, just because I really want an answer. So there is that. I might do it after the finale if it hasn't been answered. So there is that. So let's move on to predictions very quickly, since the timer did go off. Now, for the promo for the finale, it pretty much shows the aftermath of Iris's death. Not much of it has been shown, although at this part, like as I'm recording right now, the extended promo has probably gone up, so I'll probably check that out after this video. But based off the synopsis, it's probably literally the shortest synopsis for an episode that I've seen for The Flash, and it reads that with nothing left to lose, Barry takes on Savitar in an epic conclusion to Season 3. So with that said, any predictions or questions coming from that? I really think that Barry is going to imprison himself in this Speed Force, which frees up Jay Garrick, and it would also prevent any future time remnants from being made, which is kind of how the Savitar time remnant will be made. But then again, you have to remember, well, who became the original Savitar type thing. But if Barry imprisons himself and goes insane by it, then maybe he does become Savitar. But if Barry imprisons himself in the Speed Force and doesn't go insane, then he could just wait out the time until getting free, or figure out a way how to stop the creation of Savitar in the future. I have no clue though. But we'll just have to wait and see about that next week in the finale. But what did you guys think of the 2 episodes? What did you guys like about it? What do you think is going to happen next? Please let me know in the comments down below, especially if you have an answer as to who killed Iris the first time in order to start this whole Savitar journey, as it were. Also, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and check out my other videos if you haven't done so already if you want. Check out my Tumblr page. The link for that is down below. I read blog promos, web clips, quotes, GIFs, synopses, news, all the good stuff, all found in one place. So go check that out. I'm a little behind, but I will catch up. But you can also check out my WordPress account. A link for that is down below. It's a work in progress as well, but it's also a little more organized. So go check that out if you like. And that is about it, guys. So thank you so much for your patience. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you can come back next week to see what I have to say about the finale. But until then, guys, this is Mel. Wish you all a great day, great week, wherever you are. Bye for now.